I love Spence. I'll always root for Spence. But Pacquiao's footwork, his angles, his hand speed is amazing. And I wasn't sure if Spence is ready for that. I wasn't sure if Spence is ready for that. And the angles, Pacquiao's footwork, man. Spence is, you gotta kind of be a little flat-footed, a little set with him. He's gonna pick you apart. He's gonna break you, but Pacquiao's footwork, man, and angles and work rate, like his volume. So I had it Pacquiao. You know what? I don't think Pacquiao's gonna rest till he gets that fight, and I think they're gonna get.
Pacquiao floating like a UFO. Spence don't want none of the UFO feet.
Shut your mouth, don't say shit. Hold on to your seats and get a firm grip. It's spotless niggas on point and on hit. You're disrespecting the dish if you don't bump this.
Alright, y'all, what's up, everybody? Trying this again. I messed it up the first time. So we gotta do it again. Alright, let me get the sound and everything together for you. Alright, so today's topic is gonna be disgruntled fans are hating on Manny Pacquiao because Errol Spence Jr. ducked. Now, here's the situation, man. Okay, so where do I start? It's like this, man. Fans nowadays are gonna ride with their fighter, whether it's right or it's wrong. It's just what's gonna happen. Your favorite basketball player, football player, soccer, it don't matter what sport it is or what they're doing. You pretty much gonna ride with that person that you like the most in whatever sport that you enjoy watching, simply because you like that person. And it makes you biased in a way. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fans out there, or a lot of boxing fans out there, might think I'm biased. You know, that there's nothing about Errol Spence that I like, or there's nothing about Terrence Crawford I like, and I'm just a pack-tard or a fanboy or whatever you want to call it. I would say the latter, you know, and a lot of people tell me all the time, hey, you giving a biased opinion. You know, I don't know if my opinion is biased or not. I won't even be the person to judge that, you know, because you can't judge your own opinion. But what I don't like is for fans to try to flip something on his head or flip it on the next person because it's not playing in their favor. And the fact of the matter is this. Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather with a torn rotator cuff. Whether you believe it or you like it or not, it's what happened. And the man went and got surgery after the fight and tried to explain to the world what actually happened. Nobody believes him, even though there's evidence out there because the man had surgery on his arm. And then he said something on TV about a saltwater healing or rehab that he was doing, and people ran with that. They ran with it. And you know, nobody believed, except for Pacquiao fans, what he was trying to tell the fans. That, hey, you know, I tried to get the best fight I could. My shoulder was injured during the fight, actually before the fight. And I wrote it out, and I still fought him because, you know, I wanted to give the fans a good fight. Okay, fast forward a few years later, Errol Spence Jr. gets injured in sparring, and I've said what I had to say about that sparring session. It says a lot if you got beat up that bad in sparring. But gets injured in sparring, calls off the fight completely, doesn't reschedule it, doesn't say, hey, give me a couple of weeks, I need to rehab my eye, or hey, you know, you can have a little bit of my purse if we put the fight off for a couple of months because there was an injury, but I still want to fight you. No, the problem here is that it makes it seem like he's ducking because he didn't reschedule the fight. He called the fight off completely. And now Pacquiao's fighting you guys. This is what makes it seem like he's ducking. Okay, so Pacquiao had his injury. Now Errol Spence has his injury. I call it a duck. But none of these same fans who are Errol Spence fans now, who used to be Floyd Mayweather fans, because that's, I said that in a video about 2-3 years ago. What are all these Mayweather fans going to do after Mayweather retires when he's not actively boxing? Well, they all became Terrence Crawford fans and they all became Errol Spence fans. A lot of them because they just don't want to be a fan of Manny Pacquiao. Okay, so let's fast forward to today. When all that happened, let's fast forward to today. Now I call Errol Spence a duck, and people want to say it can't be a duck because the doctor said Errol Spence's retina is detached. Well, Manny Pacquiao fought Mayweather, who was supposedly the best fighter in the world, with a torn rotator cuff. And I don't know, I don't understand fans anymore, because the logic doesn't exist in certain fan base when it comes to their favorite fighter, or somebody saying something negative about their favorite fighter, because the logic just doesn't exist. Manny Pacquiao, what's the difference in having a torn rotator cuff and having a so-called detached retina, scratched cornea, scratched retina, whatever you want to call it? Because if we're boxing and I can only use one of my arms, or if we're boxing and I can only use one of my eyes, obviously the other guy has an advantage, right? Obviously, somebody got an advantage in that fight. But here's the thing, Pacquiao still fought Mayweather. He didn't back out of the fight, and I feel like the fight wasn't called off when everybody knew that his shoulder was injured. Mayweather knew it. Bob Arum had to have known it. He's the one who putting on the fight. Freddie Roach had to have known it. Boo Boy had to have known it. A lot of people already had to have known. We know at least Floyd Mayweather knew, because he said it out of his own mouth in an interview after the fight. Okay? Now, here's the thing. What's really the difference there? If Manny Pacquiao could have fought with a torn rotator cuff and still almost won the fight, Errol Spence could have still fought Manny Pacquiao. There was no need for the fight to be completely called off. That's what makes it seem like he's ducking. Okay? Whether you want to call it a duck or not, that's what I'm calling it. He's ducking Manny Pacquiao. And I feel like, disgruntled fans don't want to accept the truth for what it is, because Manny Pacquiao could have called off that fight. He could have said, hey, my shoulder's injured. I need 2-3 months to rehab my shoulder, and we can still fight. But he knew, because of all the money on the line, well over $100 million involved in that fight, he knew he was going to hear it from fans. He knew he was going to hear it from media. He knew he might get sued. There was a lot of reasons that fight wasn't called off. But because there's not as much money involved in this Errol Spence situation, and because PBC is heavily invested in Errol Spence to where they're not heavily invested in Manny Pacquiao, because he's on his way out, Spence is still rolling. His career is right in that middle area, to where they're just now starting to make big dollars off of him. So it would be easier for them to say, hey, well, we'll take Errol Spence out of this. It's a big, huge fight, but it's not a huge money fight. We'll take him out, because if he gets beat, there goes all of our money. Nobody's making money anymore. Errol Spence ain't making money because he got beat by the old guy. Nobody's gonna want to watch him. Even though I don't feel like that would be the scenario, but I do feel like some of these fair weather fans that are out here would do that. Some of these people that call themselves Mayweather, Errol Spence fans, if Pacquiao beat him, then they would probably jump on the Pacquiao bandwagon. And, because they go with whoever's winning at the moment. But I feel like because PBC is so heavily invested in him, they had to call off the fight, whether he could have fought Pacquiao with a detached retina or not, or a scratched cornea, or whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it a duck, because at the end of the day, Manny Pacquiao fought with a torn rotator cuff. Okay, whether you accept that or not, the doctor said it. Pacquiao had surgery on. Why would you go get surgery on your arm for no reason? But nobody gave Manny Pacquiao the time of day when he got on TV and said, hey, my shoulder was messed up. I just felt like I still wanted to give the fans a good fight. They drug him through the mud. They said that he faked it because he said something about saltwater healing, rehab or whatever. And they said the media drug him through the mud. The fans, Facebook, Instagram, ESPN was running. Everybody was running with that narrative that he was faking it. And but now that it's Errol Spence Jr., he is not on his way out, you know, and he's not on his way out, and people are heavily invested in him. He's the champion, so there's no way in the world he could be ducking. There's no way in the world he could be ducking. This is what these fans think. There's no way in the world he could be ducking Manny Pacquiao. But I tell you one thing. If Errol Spence Jr. comes back in a few months and fights anybody in like 2 months, other than Manny Pacquiao, 3 months, then I would 100% say he is ducking. There's no doubt. I already don't think there's no doubt in my mind that he's ducking. But hey, it is what it is, man. Let me know what y'all think about that. I'm about to run out of storage for some reason. This is a brand new SD card. Why am I running out of storage? Hit that like button for me. Please subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Disgruntled fans have turned on or hating on Manny Pacquiao because Errol Spence Jr. is a duck. Straight up and down, man. I don't care what you say, man. He's ducking. It's your boy Cardinal Red, man. And where we at? Let me see. Let y'all see where we at. I was gonna go to the practice, man. I think they're out there practicing, but there's too many people out there for me, man. I don't like to be amongst the crowd all the time, man. It's your boy Cardinal Red, man. We are out of here.
Pacquiao floating like a UFO. Spence don't want none of the UFO feet.